Chapter 1. The Hacker Who Was Not Afraid. In the biggest city, everyone feared one name, Lan Wangji. He was young, rich, and powerful. The head of the strongest Mafia family. He did not smile. He did not talk much. And he never forgave mistakes. People said his heart was made of ice. But one night, something strange happened. Someone hacked into his private system. Not just once. 3 times. Inside a small apartment, a boy with messy hair was typing fast on his laptop. That boy was Wei Wuxian, Weing. He was only 19. He loved coding like it was a game. To him, strong firewalls were just fun puzzles. "Oh? This one is difficult," he murmured with a smile. "Interesting." He didn't know it belonged to a mafia boss. In a tall building across the city, alarms rang softly. Lan Wangji looked at the screen. Someone broke through his security. His men were nervous. "Boss, we will find the hacker immediately." Lan Wangji's cold eyes watched the moving code on the screen. The hacker was fast. Very fast. Not random. Smart. Instead of anger, something else filled his eyes. Curiosity. "Bring him to me," Lan Wangji said calmly. That was the beginning. Wei Wuxian had no idea that his small game would connect him to the most dangerous man in the city. And Lan Wangji had no idea that this innocent genius would become his greatest weakness. Or his deepest obsession.
Chapter 2. Face to Face. Wei Wuxian was taken to a tall building in the middle of the city. The guards looked serious. The place looked expensive and quiet. Wei Wuxian looked around with wide eyes. "Wow, this place is like a movie," he whispered. The guards did not answer. The big doors opened. Inside, a man was sitting on a black leather chair near the window. It was Lan Wangji. Cold eyes. Calm face. Perfect posture. Wei Wuxian blinked. "So this is the boss? He looks too handsome to be scary." Lan Wangji looked at him carefully. Young. Soft face. Bright eyes. "This boy hacked his system? You broke into my network," Lan Wangji said in a low voice. Wei Wuxian nodded honestly. "Yes. Your firewall had 3 weak points." The whole room went silent. The guards were shocked. No one talked to Lan Wangji like that. Lan Wangji slowly stood up and walked closer. Wei Wuxian did not step back. He just looked curious. "You are not afraid?" Lan Wangji asked. Wei Wuxian smiled lightly. "Should I be?" Lan Wangji felt something strange in his chest. No fear. No fake respect. Only confidence. And innocence. "You are very bold," Lan Wangji said. Wei Wuxian tilted his head. "I just like solving problems." Lan Wangji looked at him for a long moment. Then he said something unexpected. "Stay." Wei Wuxian blinked. "Stay. Work for me." The guards were shocked. But Lan Wangji's eyes never left Wei Wuxian's face. From that moment he already decided. This genius boy would not leave his side again. Chapter 3. Stay with me. Wei Wuxian could not believe it. "Work for you?" he asked again. In front of him stood Lan Wangji, the most dangerous mafia boss in the city. "Yes," Lan Wangji said calmly. "You will stay here." Wei Wuxian looked around the huge office. "This place has better Wi-Fi than my apartment," he joked. No one laughed. But Lan Wangji's eyes became slightly softer. That same day, Wei Wuxian moved into the mafia mansion. His room was big. Clean. Too fancy for him. He touched the soft bed and smiled. Rich people really live well. Meanwhile, Lan Wangji watched the camera screen quietly. He watched Wei Wuxian unpack. Watched him sit on the floor with his laptop. Watched him smile at his code like it was his best friend. Strange feeling. Warm. Possessive. The next morning, Wei Wuxian entered the security room. Many big screens showed secret information. He cracked his fingers. "Let me fix everything." Within hours he improved the system. Closed hidden backdoors. Tracked enemies. The mafia members were shocked. "He's really a genius." Lan Wangji stood behind him. Very close. Too close. Wei Wuxian turned suddenly and almost bumped into his chest. "Oh. You walk so quietly." Lan Wangji looked down at him. "You are staying here from now on." Wei Wuxian blinked. "Forever." Lan Wangji did not answer directly. But inside his heart, the answer was clear. Yes. No one else would take this innocent genius away from him. No one. Not while he was alive. Chapter 4 Jealousy. Life in the mansion became normal for Wei Wuxian. He worked on computers all day. He improved security. He joked with the staff. Everyone started to like him. He was smart, friendly, bright like sunshine. One afternoon, one of the younger Mafia members leaned closer to Wei Wuxian. "You're amazing," the man said. "Maybe you can teach me hacking?" Wei Wuxian laughed. "Of course. It's easy if you understand logic." They were smiling and talking happily. But someone was watching. From the hallway, Lan Wangji stood silently. His eyes were cold. Very cold. The room suddenly felt heavy. The Mafia member noticed first and quickly stepped back. "Boss." Wei Wuxian turned around. "Oh, Wangji. You're here." Only Wei Wuxian called him that. "Lan Wanzi Wan Ge Ge Lu." Too close. He looked at the other man. "Leave." One word. The man ran immediately. Wei Wuxian blinked. Why did he leave? We were just talking. Lan Wangji looked down at him. "You don't need to talk to him." Wei Wuxian tilted his head. "Why?" Lan Wangji did not answer. Instead, he gently held Wei Wuxian's wrist. Not painful, but firm. "You are busy," he said softly. Wei Wuxian felt his heart beat faster. Lan Wangji's face was calm, but his eyes were intense. That was when Wei Wuxian started to understand. This was not just protection. This was jealousy. And maybe something deeper. Lan Wangji's voice became lower. "Stay close to me." Wei Wuxian smiled lightly. "I already am." Chapter 5 Dangerous Night. It was late at night. The mansion was quiet. Wei Wuxian was still awake, sitting on his bed with his laptop. "I'll just check one more thing," he muttered. Suddenly, the lights flickered. His screen showed something strange. Someone was trying to break into the system. Wei Wuxian's smile disappeared. This is not normal. Before he could say more, loud noises echoed outside. Men shouting. Footsteps running. An enemy mafia group had attacked. Wei Wuxian's heart beat fast, but his mind stayed calm. He quickly blocked the hacking attempt. "They're attacking from inside and outside," he whispered. The door suddenly opened. It was Lan Wangji. His face was colder than ever. "Stay behind me," he said. Wei Wuxian stood up. "I can help." Lan Wangji looked at him seriously. "You will stay with me." Outside, chaos filled the mansion. But Lan Wangji moved without fear. Anyone who came close, he stopped them. "No merci." One enemy tried to rush toward Wei Wuxian. In 1 second, Lan Wangji pulled Wei Wuxian into his arms and blocked the attack. His grip was tight. Too tight. When everything finally became quiet again, Lan Wangji checked him carefully. "Are you hurt?" Wei Wuxian shook his head. "I've fine." Lan Wangji closed his eyes for a moment. Then he pulled Wei Wuxian closer. "You scared me." Wei Wuxian was surprised. The cold mafia boss was afraid? Lan Wangji's voice was low and serious. "If anyone touches you, I will destroy them." Wei Wuxian looked at him softly. For the first time, he saw it clearly. This was not just obsession. It was deep, dangerous love. And somehow, he felt safe inside it. Chapter 6 You Are Mine. After the attack, the mansion became quiet again. Security was stronger. Guards were everywhere. But inside one room, it was calm. Wei Wuxian was sitting on the sofa, cleaning a small cut on his hand. "It's just a scratch," he said lightly. In front of him stood Lan Wangji. His face looked calm, but his eyes were dark. He gently took Wei Wuxian's hand. "You should have stayed in your room." Wei Wuxian smiled. "If I stayed, I couldn't protect your system." Lan Wangji's fingers paused. "You are more important than the system." Wei Wuxian blinked. His heart skipped. Lan Wangji rarely said things like that. Later that night, Wei Wuxian was walking in the hallway when he heard 2 mafia members talking. "The boss changed after that boy came." "Yes, he even smiles a little." Wei Wuxian felt shy hearing that. Suddenly, someone grabbed his wrist gently. It was Lan Wangji. "You shouldn't walk alone." Wei Wuxian laughed. "I'm not a child." Lanwanzi stipet gerlo. You are mine. The words were soft, but serious. Wei Wuxian looked up at him. Why are you so possessive? Lan Wangji did not look away. Because I want you. No haiding. No scam. Just truth. Wei Wuxian's face turned red. He was innocent. But he was not stupid. He understood now. The cold Mafia king was completely obsessed. And somehow, Wei Wuxian did not want to leave. Instead he stepped closer too. Then don't let me go, he said softly. Lan Wangji's arms wrapped around him immediately, as if he was afraid the world would steal him away. From that night on, everyone in the city knew one thing. If you touched Wei Wuxian, you would face the full fury of the Mafia king. Chapter 7. Smart and Dangerous. After that night, things changed. Everyone in the mansion understood one rule. Wei Wuxian belonged to Lan Wangji. No one dared to get too close. But Wei Wuxian did not care about rumors. He was busy. Very busy. One afternoon, he stared at the big screens in the security room. His fingers moved fast on the keyboard. I found something, he said. Lan Wanzi wan ge. What? Wei Wuxian zoomed in on a digital map. Our enemy is not attacking randomly. They are planning something bigger. The room became silent. Even the senior members were surprised. How can you see that? One asked. Wei Wuxian smiled proudly. Patterns. They always repeat mistakes. Lan Wangji looked at him with deep eyes. Not just cute. Not just innocent. Smart. Very smart. Wei Wuxian quickly made a new plan. He blocked secret money routes. He traced hidden accounts. He even found a spy inside their group. When the spy was caught, everyone was shocked. Lan Wangji stepped forward. You saved us, he said calmly. Wei Wuxian shrugged. I just used logic. But Lan Wangji knew the truth. Wei Wuxian was not weak. He was powerful in his own way. That night, while the city lights shined outside, Lan Wangji stood behind him again. You are dangerous, Lan Wangji said softly. Wei Wuxian turned around. Dangerous? Lan Wangji not dead? Yes. Because I cannot live without you now. Wei Wuxian's heart beat fast. The Mafia king was obsessed. But now, Wei Wuxian was slowly becoming just as attached. And together, they were more dangerous than anyone expected. Chapter 8. The Kidnapping. For a few days, everything was peaceful. Too peaceful. Wei Wuxian was working late again. I'll just buy coffee, he said, stretching his arms. The guards followed him, but someone had been watching for days. Waiting. In a dark alley near the cafe, black cars suddenly stopped. Men surrounded Wei Wuxian. The guards were knocked down quickly. Wei Wuxian's eyes widened. Oh, this is bad. He stayed calm, but he knew this was not random. Someone wanted him. Back at the mansion, alarms rang. One guard rushed inside. Boss. Young Master Wei has been taken. The temperature in the room dropped instantly. Lan Wangji stood up slowly. His face showed no panic. Only cold rage. Find him. His voice was quiet. But everyone felt fear. Inside an old warehouse, Wei Wuxian sat tied to a chair. The enemy leader laughed. So you're the genius. Wei Wuxian tilted his head. You kidnapped me just to say that. Even now he joked. The enemy slapped the table angrily. You are Lan Wangji's weakness. Wei Wuxian paused. Weakness? Before he could speak again, the warehouse doors exploded open. Gunshots echoed. Screams filled the air. Lan Wangji entered like a storm. His eyes searched only one person. When he saw Wei Wuxian tied up, something inside him snapped. He moved fast, cold, merciless. Within minutes, the enemies were defeated. Lan Wangji walked to Wei Wuxian and untied him carefully. His hands were steady, but his eyes were shaking. Did they hurt you? He asked softly. Wei Wuxian shook his head. I knew you would come. Lan Wangji further. I will always come. He pulled Wei Wuxian into his arms. Tight. Like he would never let go again. And in that moment, Wei Wuxian finally understood. He was not just the Mafia boss's obsession. He was his world. Chapter 9. No more weakness. After the kidnapping, everything changed again. Security became twice as strong. Guards followed Wei Wuxian everywhere. Wei Wuxian crossed his arms. I'm not a baby, Wangji. In front of him stood Lan Wangji, calm but strict. You were taken once, Lan Wangji said quietly. It will not happen again. Wei Wuxian sighed. You can't lock me inside forever. Lan Wangji stipet lo. I can. The air felt heavy, but Wei Wuxian did not back away this time. Instead, he looked straight into Lan Wangji's eyes. You think I'm your weakness? Lan Wangji's eyes darkened slightly. You are. Wei Wuxian shook his head. No. He walked to the computer screen and typed quickly. A digital map appeared. Red dots blinked everywhere. I traced the enemy network from the warehouse, Wei Wuxian explained. They are planning something bigger. Not just kidnapping. The room went silent. Lan Wangji watched him carefully. Wei Wuxian turned around, serious now. I'm not your weakness. I'm your weapon. Those words hit differently. Lan Wangji walked toward him slowly. You are both, he said honestly. My weakness and my strength. Wei Wuxian's heart beat fast again. But this time he did not feel small. He felt powerful. Together, they planned their next move. Not just defense. Attack. That night, Lan Wangji stood behind Wei Wuxian as usual. But this time, his hand rested lightly on Wei Wuxian's shoulder. Not just possessive. Trusting. And somewhere in the dark city, their enemies didn't know one thing. They had awakened not just a mafia king, but a genius who would protect what was his. Chapter 10 Power Couple. The next move was not simple. It was war. Inside the meeting room, senior mafia members sat quietly. At the head of the table was Lan Wangji. Beside him, not behind, beside, sat Wei Wuxian. Some members were surprised, but no one dared to speak. Wei Wuxian stood up and turned on the big screen. I found all their hidden money routes, he said calmly. If we block these tonight, they will lose half their power. The room went silent. Lan Wangji watched him with steady eyes. Proud. Do it, Lan Wangji ordered. Within hours, the enemy's accounts were frozen. Their shipments were stopped. Their communication systems crashed. All because of Wei Wuxian. The enemy leader shouted in anger somewhere across the city. But it was too late. Later that night, Wei Wuxian stood on the balcony. The city lights were bright. Lan Wangji walked beside him. It's finished, Wei Wuxian said softly. For now, Lan Wangji replied. There was silence. Then Lan Wangji spoke again. You are not just staying by my side. Wei Wuxian looked at him. You are ruling with me. Wei Wuxian blinked. Ruling? Lan Wangji's voice was low but firm. You are mine. My partner. Not prisoner. Not weakness. Partner. Wei Wuxian smiled slowly. In that case, Mafia King, you should listen to your genius more often. Lan Wangji's lips moved slightly. Almost a smile. I always do. The cold Mafia boss was still feared by the world. But now he was never alone. Because beside him stood the innocent genius. The only person who could control the king. And maybe, the only person the king would ever love. Chapter 11. The Promise. The city became quiet after their victory. Enemies stayed silent. No one dared to challenge Lan Wangji anymore. But inside the mansion, things were different. Wei Wuxian was sitting on the balcony railing, looking at the night sky. You know, he said softly. My life changed so fast. Lan Wangji stood beside him. It changed because of me. Wei Wuxian smiled. No. It changed because I chose to stay. Lan Wangji's eyes moved slightly. Chosen. Not forced. Not trapped. Chosen. For a moment, the cold Mafia King looked almost uncertain. You can leave, Lan Wangji said quietly. If you ever want to. Wei Wuxian jumped down from the railing and walked closer. Do you want me to leave? Lan Wangji answered immediately. No. It was honest. Simple. Deep. Wei Wuxian stepped closer until there was no space between them. Then I won't leave. Lan Wangji's hand gently held his waist. Staying with me is dangerous. Wei Wuxian laughed lightly. I hacked the most dangerous man in the city. I think I can handle it. For the first time, Lan Wangji truly smiled. Small. But real. He looked into Wei Wuxian's bright eyes. I will protect you. Wei Wuxian shook his head. We protect each other. Lan Wanzi said. Then he nodded slowly. That night, under the city lights, they made a silent promise. Not just obsession. Not just protection. But partnership. The Mafia King and his genius. Standing side by side. And anyone who tried to break them apart would regret it forever. Chapter 12 The Ring. A few weeks passed. The city was calm. Too calm. But inside the mansion, something was different. That evening, Wei Wuxian was called to the private dining room. The table was prepared beautifully. Candles. Soft music. Only 2 chairs. Wei Wuxian blinked. Wangji, what is this? Across the table sat Lan Wangji, calm as always. But his fingers were slightly tense. Sit, he said softly. They ate quietly at first. Wei Wuxian kept looking at him suspiciously. You're planning something. Lan Wangji did not deny it. After dinner he stood up. From his pocket he took out a small black box. Wei Wuxian's eyes widened. Wait, what? Lan Wanzi wan ge lo. His voice was steady but serious. You said we protect each other. Wei Wuxian nodded slowly. Yes. Then stay with me. Not just as partner. He opened the box. Inside was a simple silver ring. I don't want you as my weakness, Lan Wangji continued. I want you as my future. Wei Wuxian's heart beat loudly. The cold Mafia King was proposing? You're really serious, Wei Wuxian whispered. Lan Wangji looked straight into his eyes. I am always serious about you. For once, Wei Wuxian was speechless. Then slowly, he smiled. Bright, warm, confident. You already kidnapped my heart long ago, he said softly. So I guess I'll stay forever. Lan Wangji slid the ring onto his finger. Carefully, like something precious. Then he pulled Wei Wuxian into his arms. Tight. Secure. From that night on, Wei Wuxian was not just the genius beside the Mafia King. He was the one who owned his heart. And the entire city would soon know. The king had chosen his forever. Chapter 13 The King's Choice. News spread quickly. The Mafia King was engaged. Some were happy. Some were shocked. Some were angry. Inside the main meeting room, senior members sat with serious faces. At the head of the table stood Lan Wangji. Beside him, wearing the silver ring, stood Wei Wuxian. One senior member spoke carefully. Boss, marrying him may show weakness to other groups. The room became silent. Wei Wuxian did not look nervous. Lan Wangji's eyes turned cold. Weakness, he repeated. The air felt heavy. Another member tried to explain. He is young. Not from a mafia family. Wei Wuxian raised his hand slightly. Can I speak? Everyone looked at him. Lan Wanzi not dead? Wei Wuxian walked to the big screen and turned it on. Numbers appeared. Charts. Money flow. In the last month, Wei Wuxian said calmly. Our profit increased by 40%. Our enemies lost 2 main bases. Our spy network doubled. The room went quiet. Because of me, he added simply. No eregans. Just facts. Then he looked at them with a playful smile. Do I still look like weakness? No one answered. Lan Wangji stepped forward. He is my choice, he said firmly. Anyone who stands against him stands against me. That was the final word. After the meeting, Wei Wuxian laughed softly. You looked scary just now. Lan Wangji looked at him. I am only scary for those who disrespect you. Wei Wuxian's heart warmed again. He touched the ring on his finger. You're really serious about this marriage, huh? Lan Wanzi stipet lo. There is no future where you are not beside me. For once, Wei Wuxian had no teasing words. Just a soft smile. The mafia world had accepted it. The king had chosen his partner. And from now on, they would rule together. Not as obsession and weakness, but as equals. Chapter 14. Wedding Under Fire. The wedding day arrived. It was not a normal wedding. It was the wedding of the Mafia King. The hall was decorated in black and silver. Guards stood everywhere. Important mafia leaders were invited. At the center stood Lan Wangji, wearing a sharp black suit. Beside him stood Wei Wuxian, smiling brightly. You look nervous, Wei Wuxian teased softly. I am not, Lan Wangji replied. But his hand was holding Wei Wuxian's a little tighter than usual. The ceremony began. Simple. Direct. No long speeches. When the rings were exchanged, Wei Wuxian's eyes shined. From hacker to Mafia King's husband, he whispered playfully. My life is interesting. Lan Wangji looked at him with deep affection. You are my only choice. Just as they were about to finish, a loud explosion echoed outside. Guests screamed. Guards rushed out. An enemy group had chosen this day to attack. Wei Wuxian's smile disappeared. They're desperate, he said calmly. Lan Wangji's eyes turned ice cold. No one ruins this day. Gunshots sounded outside the hall. But this time, Wei Wuxian did not hide. He ran to the control room inside the building. Within minutes, he hacked into city cameras. I found their backup vehicles, he informed calmly through the system. Lan Wangji led the counterattack with perfect timing. The enemy was crushed quickly. The attack failed. When silence returned, Lan Wangji walked back into the hall. He went straight to Wei Wuxian. You should have stayed safe, he said lowly. Wei Wuxian smiled. I told you. We protect each other. Lan Wangji stared at him for a moment, then gently pulled him closer. In front of everyone. No hiding. No fear. The wedding continued. Stronger than before. Because now the whole city understood. This was not just a marriage. It was a union of power. The Mafia King and his genius. And anyone who tried to break them would only make them stronger. Chapter 15. A new era. After the wedding attack, the city became very quiet. Too quiet. No one dared to challenge Lan Wangji anymore. But inside the main office something had changed. There were now 2 chairs at the head of the table. One for the king. One for his partner. Wei Wuxian sat confidently beside Lan Wangji, checking reports on a tablet. 3 small gangs want to join us, Wei Wuxian said. They saw what happened at the wedding. Lan Wangji not dead? Accept the useful ones. Reject the greedy ones. Wei Wuxian smiled. You're getting softer. I am not, Lan Wangji replied calmly. But everyone in the room knew the truth. He was only soft for one person. Later that night, Wei Wuxian stood by the window, looking at the sunrise. The city feels different, he said quietly. Lan Wangji walked behind him and wrapped an arm around his waist. It belongs to us now. Wei Wuxian leaned back slightly. Not just power, he said. We should make it stable. No jus les wars. Lan Wangji listen café. That was the difference. Wei Wuxian did not love chaos. He loved strategy. Peace through control. You will change this world, Lan Wangji said softly. Wei Wuxian laughed. We will. Lan Wangji looked down at him. You changed me. Wei Wuxian blinked. The cold Mafia King admits that. Lan Wangji's voice was steady. For you, I admit anything. Wei Wuxian's heart warmed again. They were no longer just obsession and genius. No longer just protection and danger. They were leaders. Together. And as the sun rose over the city, a new era began. Ruled not only by fear, but by intelligence. An unbreakable loyalty. Chapter 16. The Shadow War. Peace did not last long. One night, Wei Wuxian noticed something strange in the system. Small movements. Hidden money transfers. No big attacks. Just shadows. He frowned. This is not normal. Beside him, Lan Wangji watched quietly. What did you find? Wei Wuxian zoomed in on the screen. Someone new is entering the city. Not loud. Not violent. Very careful. Lan Wangji's eyes darkened. A new enemy. Yes, Wei Wuxian nodded. And this one is smart. For the first time in a while, Wei Wuxian looked serious. This person studies us. They don't attack directly. They test our limits. Lan Wangji stipet lo. Do they know about you? Wei Wuxian hesitated. Maybe. The air became heavy. Lan Wangji's voice turned colder. Then we end this quickly. But Wei Wuxian shook his head. No. If we attack blindly, we lose advantage. He turned the screen around. I want to play their game. Lan Wangji looked at him carefully. Dangerous light in his eyes. You are enjoying this. Wei Wuxian smiled slightly. A little. The innocent genius still had that playful face. But now, he was sharper, stronger, more confident. Lan Wangji gently touched his chin, lifting his face slightly. Do not risk yourself. Wei Wuxian looked straight into his eyes. I won't, because I know you'll burn the world for me. Lan Wangji did not deny it. Outside, somewhere in the dark city, a mysterious enemy watched. And for the first time, the war was not about guns. It was about minds. A shadow war had begun, and the Mafia king with his genius partner were ready to hunt the hunter. Chapter 17. The Mastermind Revealed. The shadow war continued for days. No direct attack. No stealth moves. Just careful testing. Wei Wuxian barely slept. His fingers moved fast across the keyboard. I found a pattern, he said quietly. Across the room, Lan Wangji looked up immediately. What is it? Wei Wuxian showed him the screen. The money routes, fake companies, small cyber attacks, they all connect to one hidden account. He zoomed in. A name appeared. Su Cheng. Lan Wangji's eyes became cold. He was part of the Northern Mafia, he said calmly. Very smart. Disappeared 3 years ago. Wei Wuxian nodded. He didn't disappear. He was preparing. At that moment, Lan Wangji's phone rang. A known number. He answered. A calm male voice spoke. Lan Wangji. I see you found me. The room became silent. I was wondering when your genius would notice. Wei Wuxian raised an eyebrow. He talks too much, he whispered. Lan Wangji's grip on the phone tightened. What do you want? The voice chuckled. Nothing yet. I just wanted to see if your weakness is really as smart as they say. The call ended. The temperature in the room dropped. Lan Wangji turned slowly toward Wei Wuxian. You are not weakness, he said firmly. Wei Wuxian smiled slightly. I know. He leaned back in his chair. He wants attention. He wants to scare us. Lan Wangji stipetgalo. No one threatens you. Wei Wuxian's eyes sharpened. Then let's show him something. For the first time, the genius looked just as dangerous as the Mafia king. The real game was about to begin. And this time, they would not just defend. They would destroy the mastermind. Chapter 18. Checkmate. Wei Wuxian did not rush. That man wants attention, he said calmly. So we give him something bigger. Across the room, Lan Wangji watched him quietly. What are you planning? Wei Wuxian's eyes shined. A trap. For 2 days, Wei Wuxian pretended to make mistakes. Small security gaps. Fake money movements. Weak signals. Just enough for Su Cheng to notice. He thinks he's winning, Wei Wuxian said with a small smile. Lan Wangji stood close behind him. You are enjoying this too much. Maybe. Wei Wuxian laughed softly. On the 3rd night, the enemy finally attacked fully. Huge money transfer attempt. System breach. Everything at once. But it was all fake. Wei Wuxian pressed one key. Now. Instantly, their hidden program locked onto the real location of Su Cheng's base. Not one base. All of them. Lan Wangji's eyes turned sharp. Send the teams. Within an hour, their men surrounded the hidden headquarters. Su Cheng tried to escape, but his accounts were frozen. His communication blocked. His routes exposed. Everything destroyed in one move. Back in the mansion, Wei Wuxian leaned back in his chair. Checkmate. Lan Wangji walked toward him slowly. You played him perfectly. Wei Wuxian smiled proudly. He underestimated me. Lan Wangji gently lifted Wei Wuxian's chin. No one will ever underestimate you again. Wei Wuxian looked up at him. And no one will call me your weakness. Lan Wangji's voice was calm but powerful. You are my strength. Outside, the city returned to silence once more. The shadow war was over. The mastermind was defeated. And now, everyone understood something clearly. The Mafia king was terrifying. But the genius beside him? Even more dangerous. Chapter 19. The Threat from Within. The city was finally quiet. Too quiet. Wei Wuxian leaned back in his chair, staring at the security data. Something feels wrong, he said softly. Across the room, Lan Wangji looked at him immediately. What is it? Wei Wuxian zoomed into a small detail. A private message was sent from inside our network. Lan Wangji's eyes turned cold. From who? Wei Wuxian tapped the screen. A familiar name appeared. One of the senior members. The room became silent. That night, a secret meeting was held. The suspected man stood in front of Lan Wangji. Sweat covered his forehead. I didn't betray you, he said quickly. Wei Wuxian stepped forward calmly. You sold small information. Not big secrets. Just enough to test us. The man's face turned pale. Lan Wangji's voice was quiet but dangerous. Why? They threatened my family, the man whispered. Wei Wuxian's eyes softened slightly. But Lan Wangji did not change. You should have come to me, Lan Wangji said. The man fell to his knees. I was afraid. Wei Wuxian looked at Lan Wangji. He made a mistake. But he didn't sell everything. Lan Wangji stayed silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. You will be removed from your position. Your family will be protected. But you will never work in this city again. The man cried with relief. After he was taken away, Wei Wuxian looked at Lan Wangji. You're softer than you pretend. Lan Wangji turned toward him. I protect what is mine. Even my people. Wei Wuxian smiled gently. And I protect you. Lan Wangji stipekalo. You already do. The enemy outside was defeated. But now they understood something important. The greatest danger is not always outside. Sometimes it hides inside. And from now on, they would watch everything. Together. Chapter 20. Forever Beside Me. After the betrayal inside the group, the mansion became even more secure. But something else changed too. Lan Wangji trusted Wei Wuxian completely now. Not just as his husband. Not just as his genius. But as the only person who truly stood equal to him. One quiet night, Wei Wuxian stood on the balcony again. The city lights looked peaceful below. It's strange, he said softly. My life used to be simple. Just coding and joking. Behind him, Lan Wangji wrapped his arms around his waist. And now, Wei Wuxian smiled. Now I rule the city with a scary Mafia king. Lan Wangji's voice was calm. I am not scary. Wei Wuxian laughed. Only to everyone except me. There was silence for a moment. Then Lan Wangji spoke quietly. If one day this life becomes too dangerous, you can leave. Wei Wuxian turned around immediately. Why do you always say that? Lan Wangji's eyes were serious. Because your safety is more important than power. Wei Wuxian stepped closer and held his coat. Listen carefully, he said softly. I'm not here because I was forced. I'm here because I choose you. Lan Wangji's expression softened. You choose me. Wei Wuxian nodded. Every day. For the first time, Lan Wangji did not hide his feelings. He pulled Wei Wuxian into his arms tightly. Then stay beside me. Forever. Wei Wuxian rested his head against his chest. Only if you promise something too. What? No more calling me your weakness. Lan Wangji looked down at him. You are not my weakness. He paused. You are my heart. The city below was silent. Strong. Controlled. And above it stood the Mafia king and his genius partner. Not just bound by obsession, but by trust, by loyalty, by love. And no matter what future battles came, they would face them the same way. Side by side. Forever. Chapter 21. The Heir of the King. Time passed quietly. The city was stable. Business was strong. Enemies stayed silent. One morning, an important council meeting was held. But this time, Lan Wangji did not sit at the head of the table. Wei Wuxian did. The senior members looked surprised. Lan Wangji stood at the side, silent. Wei Wuxian opened the meeting calmly. Our next move is expansion, he said. But not with violence. We take control through business. Charts appeared on the screen. Legal companies. Investments. Technology control. The members listened carefully. His voice was steady. Confident. Smart. When one member tried to question him, Wei Wuxian answered smoothly with numbers and strategy. There was no hesitation. After the meeting ended, the members bowed slightly. Not just to the king, but to Wei Wuxian. Later in the office, Wei Wuxian crossed his arms. Why did you let me lead? Lan Wanzi Wan Ge Lu. Because they need to see it. See what? That you are not beside me. He paused. You stand with me. Wei Wuxian's heart warmed. Lan Wangji continued. One day, if I am not here, you can control everything. Wei Wuxian frowned slightly. Don't talk like that. Lan Wangji looked at him calmly. I am serious. Wei Wuxian stepped closer. Then live long. Because I don't want to rule alone. Lan Wangji's eyes softened. You won't. Wei Wuxian smiled. Good. From that day on, everyone understood clearly. The Mafia king had chosen his successor. Not by blood, not by tradition, but by trust. And the genius who once hacked for fun was now ready to rule an empire. Final chapter. The Empire of Two Kings. Years passed. The city changed. Crime became organized. Chaos became control. Fear became respect. At the center of everything stood two names. Lan Wanzi and Wei Wuxian. No one dared to call Wei Wuxian weakness anymore. He was known as the brain of the empire. While Lan Wangji ruled with silent authority, Wei Wuxian ruled with strategy and intelligence. Together, they were unstoppable. One evening, they stood on the highest balcony of their headquarters. The city lights stretched endlessly below them. Wei Wuxian leaned on the railing. Do you ever regret meeting me? He asked playfully. Lan Wangji answered immediately. No. Wei Wuxian smiled. You didn't even think. I don't need to, Lan Wangji said calmly. He stepped closer. When I first saw you, I wanted to keep you. Wei Wuxian laughed softly. Yes, very possessive. Lan Wangji did not deny it. But now, he continued, I don't keep you because I'm afraid to lose you. Wei Wuxian looked at him. Then why? Because you choose to stay. Silence filled the air. Soft. Peaceful. Wei Wuxian moved closer and rested his head against Lan Wangji's shoulder. I'll always choose you, he said quietly. Lan Wangji's hand held his waist firmly. And I will always protect you. The city below shined brightly. Their empire was strong. Their enemies were gone. But what truly made them powerful was not fear. It was trust. The cold Mafia king who once ruled alone had found his equal. The innocent genius who once hacked for fun had found his forever. Not obsession, not weakness, not control, but partnership. And as the sun slowly rose over the city, two kings stood side by side, ruling not just an empire, but each other's hearts. The end.